Despite having a goofy name, this show managed to wake my interest with the girls from the opening song. Whenever an anime has 4:1 female to male ratio, it's an easy watch for me. So of course I give it a try to see if the girls hold up to my standard to join my overflowing collection of waifus. But before we get down to business, let me give an overall picture regarding this title. We're dealing with an action sci-fi genre, and sadly, there is no ecchi harem tag to enhance the experience, even though there are many elements that hint to those specific tropes scattered throughout the show. The main character is a war refugee. Apparently he's Chinese or something and had to flee to Japan with his hot sister. The premise alone was enough to convince me to watch this title. I watched enough anime to know what happens when you move along with your sibling in a remote location. Fantasies aside, this world is being pretty brutal. Apparently everyone is at war with these sea aircraft things, and as the show starts we get a glimpse of how ferocious the enemy is. Here's also the moment when we get introduced to the Air Force, an army branch designed to combat the aggressors. But most importantly, we are presented with the main girl of the story. She interacts with the protagonist in the most cliché anime fashion. At this point I was more than sure that I was gonna enjoy this show. I mean, it looks very promising considering that also his sister seems to have some taboo feelings for him. Too bad she's a hypocrite.
ケイのパンツなんて昔から何度も見てるし、今さら恥ずかしがるようなことないでしょ。
逆ならどうなんだよ。俺がお前の着替え覗いたら
怒る。
理不尽すぎるだろ。
How is this not a harem? All the pieces seem to be in place for it to be one, but whatever. Kei, cause that's the main character name, decides to join the Air Force Academy and on the way home spots the red aircraft that saved him a few days back. He follows the envoy to a military base where he gets ambushed, at first by his controlling sister, and soon after by the base patrol. Later on he gets the time of his life as he's interrogated with his life on the line by some fat scientist. Luckily for him, it was all just a test to see how the pink-haired chick reacts, as we later discover that he's the only one that stabilizes and enables her to perform. Very convenient for the protagonist. He lands a part-time job at the military base. Wait till you hear what the work is all about. He has to take the attractive teenage pilot out on dates and gets even paid for it. Best job ever. As I was watching, I couldn't stop but realize that there are many similarities between this show and the last year winter release mecha anime Darling in the Franxx X6. Not even counting the fact that the main girl has pink hair, cause that's an everlasting anime stereotype. There are other instances where the titles overlap. For example, they have a kiss in the first episode.
俺は怪しい者じゃ。
君を味合わせて、今から君が僕のダーリンだ。
Despite looking like a hot teenage girl, the chick is made from the same essence the anime is. Other people don't trust the main girl, and the protagonist has to defend her. And last but definitely not least, she needs a partner to be able to pilot.
You have control.
I have control. どうしたの、ダーリン。
動かせるかな、俺でも。
できるさ。僕とダーリンならね。
Well, lately every anime seems to be the same, especially in the shonen genre. Not complaining, to be honest. Don't fix something that's working, and I do very much enjoy these types of shows. Now let's go back to our lovebirds. As I previously stated, the protagonist is misfortunate enough to have to date a hot redhead to save the world. Poor guy. I hope he gets well compensating for his sacrifice. He takes her out on different locations, showing her around the city, taking her to the beach, buying her food to get her fat. You know, I met a Japanese girl once, and what I've learned is that you can't go wrong with sweets. She was skinny and half my size, and yet ate more ice cream than me. Japanese girls are very superficial. Just saying. Anyhow, let's touch our briefs on the personality for a moment. Cause despite popular beliefs, what makes girls waifus are not only their looks, but also their behavior. Well, I can see that she's a very standard female introvert. I mean, she's shy and clumsy, forgets things, is socially awkward, and therefore doesn't know how to interact with others.
ひょっとして結構おっちょこちょいとか？
そんなことはない。大きな勘違い。
だって全然平気っぽくないぞ。慌てんぼうだし、言ってることも天然っぽいし、なんか。
それ以上言ったら怒る。
Her loneliness can be explained as it is later on revealed that she basically is a man-made engineered weapon, which naturally is also a popular anime cliché. Even before knowing that, I had a feeling she wasn't human, and therefore when Kay said this at the shrine,
ケイはザイが嫌い。
当たり前だろ。俺は財を許さない。
I immediately realized that he's not getting laid at night. Sadly, it all leads into him questioning their relationship, and in the end abandoning her in the time of need. What a douchebag. It all proves to be a pointless waste of time, as he comes back to his senses and rushes to his girl's behest, only that he can no longer help her as she is in the middle of a losing battle. Just as the show took a bad turn, both story-wise and with the characters, that might get saved by yet another waifu. Yeah, that's right. There's more teenage girls piloting aircrafts for the military. Extra points for realism. This time though, we are being introduced to a cheerful, energetic, well-stacked blonde that seems to be immune to the malfunctions our pink-haired is suffering from.
那覇基地から配填された F15J-ANM イーグルです。東シナ海では毎日のように財を落としてました。みんなよろしくね。
Time for some harem action, I assume. For some reason, she also decides to follow the protagonist around, creating all sorts of problems for his social life. Kay starts to witness the difficulties that come around when you are surrounded by estrogen 24/7. The addition of a blonde, playful bimbo only made his life more difficult, as his sisters start to get suspicious of his intentions. I guess at this point it's pretty clear that she wants him for herself. Now I don't know if she's only a half-sister or maybe not even blood-related, but considering she's one of the girls surrounding the main character in the opening song, it's safe to assume that she's a potential love interest. Now if we're gonna have interest or not, I don't know, this is anime after all. And on the high note, I'm bringing my thoughts to a close. Overall, I'm very satisfied with what I've seen so far of Girly Air Force.